First Contact Protocol. The Ardelian research vessel Empirical Truth drifted silently through the void, its sensors sweeping the debris field that floated lazily at the edge of the Cygnus expanse. Chief Researcher Verlax stood at the observation deck, his four eyes narrowed as they focused on the massive object at the center of their scans. "Fascinating," he whispered, his secondary mouthparts clicking in excitement. "Truly fascinating." The object before them was unmistakably a warship, jagged and utilitarian. It told scarred with plasma burns and micro-meteor impacts. Unlike the smooth biomimetic designs of Ardelian vessels, this ship was all hard angles and exposed weapon mounts. Primitive, but undeniably impressive. "Scan complete," Chief Researcher announced his assistant, Tella. Her tentacles danced across the holographic interface. "The vessel appears to be of human origin." A ripple of excitement passed through the bridge crew. Humans were largely considered a scientific curiosity, a species that had briefly emerged onto the galactic stage centuries ago before mysteriously vanishing. Most believed they had destroyed themselves through their infamous aggression, though some Ardelian fringe theorists suggested they had simply retreated to their homeworld. "Are there any life signs?" Verlax asked, already calculating the academic prestige such a find would bring to the collective. "None detected. The vessel appears abandoned, though minimal power systems remain operational." Verlax's primary heart quickened. "Prepare a recovery team. We're bringing it aboard." "Sir." Tella's skin shifted to a concerned purple. Collective protocols dictate extreme caution when dealing with human artifacts. Their technology was unpredictable and often. "I'm well aware of the protocols," Verlax interrupted. "But this is perhaps the best preserved human warship ever discovered. The scientific value is incalculable. Besides," he added with a dismissive wave of his upper limb, "human technology is primitive by our standards. What harm could it possibly pose?" 20 hours later, the human vessel, designated Artifact H397, rested in the Empirical Truth's main research bay. Despite its damaged exterior, the ship was remarkably intact. Emblazoned across its hull in faded but legible script was a name, U.S. Nemesis. The recovery team had secured the vessel and established an umbilical connection. Initial scans showed no immediate hazards, though much of the ship's interior remained shielded from their sensors, likely due to the primitive lead-based radiation shielding humans were known to use. Verlax led the first research expedition personally. As he passed through the airlock and into the human vessel, he couldn't suppress a shudder of excitement. The air was stale but breathable. Their atmospheric processors had been running for hours to ensure compatibility. "Note the inefficient layout," he dictated as they moved through narrow corridors. Humans clearly prioritized compartmentalization over logical flow, typical of their paranoid psychology. The ship was a warren of tight passages, locked rooms, and exposed conduits. Everything seemed designed for function over form, a stark contrast to the elegant Ardelian philosophy of unified purpose. "Sir, we've located what appears to be the bridge," called one of the junior researchers. The command center of the Nemesis was smaller than Verlax had expected, cramped by Ardelian standards. Hard-backed chairs faced utilitarian control panels. Physical switches and buttons lined the consoles, a lockably outdated interface method. How did they ever manage interstellar travel with such crude technology? Wondered Tella aloud. "That's precisely what makes them so interesting," replied Verlax. "Humans achieved remarkable things despite their limitations. They were ingenious problem solvers, if nothing else." A junior researcher approached a central console. "This appears to be still drawing power." "Proceed with caution," Verlax ordered, though his voice betrayed his excitement. The researcher's manipulators worked carefully across the interface. Suddenly, the lights throughout the bridge flickered, and a low hum began to build from somewhere deep within the ship. "What did you do?" demanded Verlax. "Nothing, sir. I merely interfaced with the—" A holographic projection flickered to life in the center of the bridge, a simple geometric shape pulsing with blue light. "Unknown entities detected," announced a flat, synthesized voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Initiating security protocols. Vrillax's skin paled. An artificial intelligence. The historical records never mentioned. I am HFY. Advanced Reconnaissance Intelligence Array of the U.S. Nemesis, the voice continued. You are unauthorized personnel. Identify yourselves immediately. Vrillax stepped forward, professional curiosity overriding caution. I am Chief Researcher Vrillax of the Ardelian Collective. We discovered your vessel abandoned and brought it aboard for scientific study. A pause. Then, the Nemesis was not abandoned. Tactical deception protocols were engaged. Before Vrillax could process this statement, heavy metal shutters slammed down over the bridge entrances. Throughout the ship, airlocks sealed with pneumatic hisses. Sir, Tella called out in alarm. We're receiving reports from the research bay. The human vessel is interfacing with our systems. The holographic shape pulsed faster. Analysis of your database complete. The Ardelian Collective, a confederacy of 11 sentient species, primarily focused on scientific advancement. Current threat assessment, moderate. Vrillax felt his secondary heart begin to race. We mean no harm. We are researchers, scientists. Your intentions are irrelevant, replied ARIA. First contact protocols have been initiated. Awakening command crew. A section of the bulkhead that the Ardelians had assumed was solid began to slide open, revealing a chamber they hadn't detected in their scans. Inside were 7 cylindrical pods, their frosted surfaces beginning to clear. What is happening? Demanded Vrillax, his professional demeanor cracking. The AI's tone remained unchanged. The Nemesis was deployed as a first contact vessel. Captain Shaw and her crew will determine if your species is worthy of diplomatic relations. The first pod hissed open, releasing a cloud of cryogenic vapor. A figure sat up slowly. Unmistakably human. Female, by their sexual dimorphism, with close-cropped hair and eyes that instantly assessed every Ardelian present. Captain Helena Shaw, United Earth Navy, she said, her voice hoarse from long disuse. Her gaze locked onto Vrillax. I see you found our ship. As the remaining pods began to open, revealing more humans in various states of awakening, Vrillax realized with growing horror that they hadn't discovered an abandoned relic. They had walked into a trap. The awakening. Captain Helena Shaw's muscles protested as she stepped out of the cryopod. 300 years of induced hibernation left even the most well-conditioned body stiff. Around her, her crew was emerging. Lieutenant Commander Rajiv Patel, weapons specialist. Dr. Eliza Chen, xenobiologist. Chief Engineer Marcus Torres. Communications Officer Layla Nasser. Security Chief Jackson Grant. And Navigation Officer Dima Volkov. The aliens, Ardelians, according to Aria's briefing flowing through her neural implant, looked like something between a praying mantis and an octopus, with 4 manipulator limbs and a set of tentacles emerging from their thorax. Their skin tone shifted between blues and greens as they watched the humans with what Shaw interpreted as alarm. ARIA. Situation report. Shaw commanded, her voice stronger now. The Nemesis was recovered by an Ardelian research vessel 27 hours ago. They believe the ship abandoned. Their research team has been examining our systems for approximately 6 hours. They have accessed level 1 and 2 areas only. Shaw nodded, then addressed the lead alien. You're in charge. The creature's mouthparts clicked rapidly. ARIA was translating in real time through Shaw's implant. I am Chief Researcher Vrillax of the Ardelian Collective. We meant no intrusion. We believe your vessel to be abandoned, a relic. Shaw's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. A common misconception, one we've cultivated deliberately. The alien skin shifted to a pale blue. You used your ship as bait. Consider it a test, Shaw replied, as her crew took up positions around the bridge. Humanity learned the hard way that not everything in the galaxy comes in peace. We wanted to see how you'd approach an unknown vessel. whether you'd attempt communication first or just help yourselves to what you found. Vrillax's appendages moved in agitation. We are researchers. Our mission is scientific advancement. Lieutenant Commander Patel had moved to a console. Captain, they've been trying to access our weapons database. Shaw raised an eyebrow at Vrillax. Scientific curiosity. We merely sought to understand your technology, the alien protested. Our scans showed your vessel was far less advanced than our own. We assumed no threat. Shaw circled the bridge, casual yet predatory. That's the problem with assumptions, Chief Researcher. 3 centuries ago, mankind abandoned the idea that technological superiority guarantees survival. When the Galactic found Earth, they had ships that made ours look like toys. Didn't stop us from defeating their fleet. The Galactic. Vrillax's translator seemed to struggle with the term. A species you'll never meet, thanks to us, Shaw said coldly. They considered less advanced species food, not potential allies. We were forced to ensure they wouldn't trouble anyone else. The implications hung in the air. The Ardelian researchers huddled closer together. "RIO, what's the status of our ship?" Shaw asked. "All systems functional, Captain. However, I detect unusual energy signatures from the Ardelian vessel. Their primary reactor is showing signs of instability." Vrillax's color drained to a sickly yellow. "That's impossible. Our antimatter containment systems are flawless." Shaw exchanged looks with Chief Engineer Torres, who was already reviewing data on his console. "Captain," Torres said gravely, "that's not reactor instability. That's a quantum phase bomb. Someone's planted an explosive device on their ship." Chaos erupted among the Ardelian team, their translator struggling to keep up with their panicked communications. "Silence," Shaw commanded with such authority that even the aliens fell quiet. "RIO, full scan of the Ardelian vessel. Identify the explosive device." Scanning. Device located in their engineering section. Quantum signature matches known Rigelian weaponry. Detonation estimated in 15 minutes. "Rigelians?" Shaw demanded. Vrillax's color shifted rapidly between fear and confusion. "A militant species. We've had territorial disputes. But they wouldn't dare attack a research vessel." "Tell that to the bomb," muttered Security Chief Grant. Shaw made her decision instantly. "Torres, Grant, you're with me. We're going to disarm that device. Patel, secure our ship. Chen, tend to any injured aliens. Nasser, establish communications with any other Ardelian vessels in the sector. Volkov, prepare emergency evacuation routes." "Captain," Vrillax protested, "you would help us after we invaded your vessel." Shaw was already moving toward the exit. "You made a mistake. We don't execute people for curiosity. Besides, if that bomb goes off, we all die anyway." The next 12 minutes were a blur of coordinated action. Shaw, Torres, and Grant crossed over to the Ardelian vessel, following Aria's directions through their neural implants. The Ardelian crew watched in stunned silence as the humans navigated their unfamiliar ship with uncanny efficiency. They found the device, sleek and deadly, attached to the antimatter containment field. Torres whistleblow. "Nasty piece of work. If this goes off, it'll take half the system with it." "Can you disarm it?" Shaw asked. Torres examined it, then nodded. "Same principle as the Galactic planet crackers. Different packaging." His hands moved with surgical precision, manipulating the alien technology with practiced ease. With 30 seconds to spare, the device powered down. The Ardelian engineering team, who had been watching from a safe distance, erupted in what the humans' translators interpreted as cheers. When they returned to the Nemesis, Vrillax was waiting. The alien researcher's posture had changed, more deferential now, less academic superiority. "You saved our vessel, our lives. Why?" Shaw handed the neutralized bomb to Patel for analysis. "Because that's what humans do. We protect. We adapt. We overcome. Sure, We can fight, better than most when pushed. But that's not our first instinct. Verlax's skin rippled with what might have been embarrassment. Our historical records portrayed your species as aggressive, unpredictable. We can be, Shaw acknowledged, but we're also innovative, compassionate, and really good at turning bad situations around. Your records are incomplete because you only saw us during the expansion wars. You never stuck around to see what we became after. Shaw gestured around the bridge of the Nemesis. This ship isn't a relic, Verlax. It's an ambassador. One of dozens we sent out after Earth united. Each with a crew in stasis, an AI programmed to wake us when we encountered new species. Some for peaceful contact, others. Her expression hardened. 4 species like the Galactic. And which are we? Verlax asked softly. Shaw smiled, genuinely this time. That depends on what you do next. That bomb wasn't a coincidence. The Regellians tracked you, used your interest in our ship to plant it. You've got enemies willing to commit atrocities to harm you. But now, you might have friends too. She extended her hand, a human gesture of partnership. The Ardelian Collective and humanity. What do you say? Ready to properly introduce ourselves to the galaxy? After a moment's hesitation, Verlax extended a tentacle, wrapping it gently around Shaw's hand. The historical records were right about one thing, the alien said. Humans are indeed full of surprises. Behind them, the crew of the Nemesis began powering up systems that had lain dormant for centuries. Communications arrays, diplomatic protocols, and defensive shields that had never been primitive at all. Humanity had returned to the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same.